It's about overcoming any sort of resistance that you face and things that come in your way to total mastery.
At least that brutal honesty about his monstrosity.
Cool. Welcome back to Real Philosophy, where we dive into the philosophical dimensions of our and your favorite screen characters. I'm Vishal, and today we are trying to do something different, right?
Yeah, guys, I'm Mohit. Yeah, we're breaking our own format because we realize we can't talk about one character without the other. Usually we
Yeah.
focus on just one character, but this time we're going to focus on two. Today we're analyzing two characters locked in an eternal battle. These two characters are Daniel Plainview and Eli Sunday from this amazing movie called There Will Be Blood.
Yes, it was a masterpiece from Paul Thomas Anderson. Came out in 2007, I remember, and we know that this guy is a genius, right? So many amazing movies, The Master, Inherent Vice, and the latest Talk of the Town, one battle after another.
We don't have to digress any further than the topic today because we have the legend himself, Daniel Day Lewis, who gave us, I think, one of the most impactful performances of his career. How can we forget there's Paul Dano as well, who plays Eli Sunday, who matched him for a beat, and that's very hard to say for
Yeah.
someone who's up against or acting with Daniel Day Lewis, right? But I think what makes the film philosophically fascinating is that it's not a simple good versus evil story, right? It's two deeply flawed ideologies tearing each other apart.
Yes, and we'll get into those ideologies as well. And we'll be exploring three main philosophical themes today. The first is going to be Nietzsche's will to power and how both characters embody it sort of differently, but both do embody it. And second is going to be the concept of misanthropy and what it means to truly hate humanity, like the main character does in this one. And the third one is the performance of authenticity, how both of these men are performing and they're actors who are playing roles in this movie.
Right, and like how we always do, we'll wrap up with our favorite moments of the film because,
Yeah.
my God, there are so many of them. I think there's so many of them that we'll end up like showing you and talking about some of them well within the script before we even reach the end, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, some unforgettable scenes in there. Like one that comes to mind is that bowling alley finale,
Yeah.
which I think could be an episode or a course of its own. I feel.
Yeah, we have to give this content warning to the listeners. The movie has a lot of dark themes, if you've seen it, and this is not a typical happy-go-lucky movie or a series like Ted Lasso. This is There Will Be Blood, however, and there's gonna be blood, of course, and it is a film about two men who are out to destroy each other, and not only each other, everyone around them, right?
Absolutely. So, guys, pour yourself a milkshake. We're about to drink it up. Let's begin the show.
Let's
Anyhow,
go, let's go.
let's go. So, anyhow, I'm gonna dig right into it, right? So, like you rightly said, I think we cannot not talk about Friedrich Nietzsche's concept of will to power, right? I think it sort of surfaces, and especially someone who knows about this concept and watching the movie, I think it's always playing on your mind. The will to
Yeah.
power concept.
Yeah, and for those of you who are unfamiliar, Nietzsche, he believed that the fundamental driving force in humanity and humans is not survival or reproduction or progeny, but the will to power. And the will to power is the desire to assert and expand one's influence and control. It's about overcoming any sort of resistance that you face and things that come in your way to achieve total mastery.
From the opening scene where he's alone in that mine shaft breaking rocks with a pickaxe, you see it there as well, right? There's no
Yeah,
dialogue for almost
yeah.
15 minutes. It's just a man who's uh, willing himself to power through sheer physical determination, right?
It just pulls you in. It's the background score, the the charcoal, the coal all around him, and then the oil. And he's literally, dragging himself out of the mine, and he has a broken leg, still climbing a ladder. He's refusing to die. That's not typical, right? That's not just survival instinct. He's not just trying to survive and, take care of his life. He's out to do something. There's this will to power made flesh, right? He's trying to conquer something, and he knows that he's on to something, he's found something, and he wants to show it to the world.
Correct. And then watch how methodically he builds his empire, right? He
Yeah,
just doesn't want to be successful, he wants to dominate. Like,
yeah,
remember that speech he gives? Like, I have a competition in me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want no one else to succeed. I hate most people. You know what? I will fuck it up. Why don't you cue this in? Why don't we see it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You can't do it better than Daniel Day-Lewis. So I'm
I
gonna
can't
play
do it at all.
it.
Are you an angry man, Henry?
About what?
Are you envious? Do you get envious?
I don't think so, no.
I have a competition in me. I want no one else to succeed. I hate most people.
That part of me is gone. Working and not succeeding. All my failures has left me. I just don't care.
Well, if it's in me, it's in you. There are times when I look at people and I see nothing worth liking. I want to earn enough money I can get away from everyone.
What will you do about your boy?
Okay, so this scene, right? What incredible acting. The scene talks about that's something that Nietzsche has frequently said, that the will to power isn't just about, rising up, it's about pushing others down. So you gotta, it's like something that we see in crab mentality as well. You gotta push the other crabs down to go up. And Daniel doesn't just want to win, he wants others to lose. And you see it in this conversation between the supposed brothers as well, that the other guy, he's just acting like how regular people see life, that I've seen so many failures, I don't care anymore. I just want to now live a happy, content life. But that's so different from what Daniel Day-Lewis is talking about.
Here's where it gets interesting because Eli Sunday, played by Paul Dano, has the exact same will to power, right? Just channeled through religion instead of
Yeah.
capitalism. Like, he wants to dominate his congregation, control his community, and expand his influence, right?
Yeah, yeah. And Eli boy, he demands that Daniel be baptized, right? Publicly. And that sort of feels like his moment to assert dominance. And he's not really interested. I'm not sure he's interested in any sort of salvation for Daniel, right? He just wants to exert his own power. And he wants to humiliate Daniel because he has been humiliated by Daniel publicly, slapped,
Correct,
bit slapped,
correct.
whatever you want to call it. And he now wants to assert his own dominance in front of the whole town. And he also wants Daniel, who's the only other powerful character in the movie, to acknowledge his power, right?
Correct. And I mean, you reminded me then of that baptism scene, right? Which is the one where he yells, "I've abandoned my boy, I've abandoned my child."
Yeah,
Daniel is forced to perform submission, which for someone with his will to power is worse than physical torture, right? If you think
yeah,
about it.
yeah,
And I mean, that scene in itself is wow. I mean, that's worthy of the movie winning an Oscar. So why don't we just play that as well?
yeah.
We're looking for salvation. A new member. I'll ask it again. Is there a sinner here looking for God?
Yes.
Thank you for coming, Brother Daniel.
Thank you, Eli.
We have a sinner with us here who wishes for salvation. Daniel, are you a sinner?
Yes.
Oh, the Lord can hear you, Daniel. Say it to him. Go ahead and speak to him. It's all right.
Yes.
Down on your knees and to him. Look up
want me to say?
Daniel, you've come here and you've brought good and wealth, but you have also brought your bad habits as a backslider. You've lusted after women and you have abandoned your child. Your child that you raised, you have abandoned all because he was sick and you have sinned. So say it now. I am a sinner.
I'm a sinner.
Say it louder. I am a sinner.
I am a sinner.
Louder, Daniel. I am a sinner.
I am a sinner.
I am sorry, Lord.
I am sorry, Lord.
I want the blood.
I want the blood.
You have abandoned your child.
I've abandoned my child.
I will never backslide.
I will never backslide.
I was lost, but now I am found.
I was lost, but now I'm found.
I have abandoned my child. Say it.
I've abandoned my child.
Say it louder. Say it louder.
I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
Beg for the blood.
Give me the blood, Eli. Let me get out of here. Give me the blood, Lord! And let me get away!
Do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior?
Yes, I do.
Get out of here, devil! Out, devil! Out, sin! Do you accept the Church of the Third Revelation as your spiritual guide? Get out of here! Get out of here! Get out of here! Do you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior?
Yes, I do.
Damn.
Intense, intense.
Okay. I think that was too intense. But yeah, the acting is by both. So they are going against each other, right, in full force. And the dynamic, I think, is this is what Nietzsche talked about: master morality and slave morality. So the master creates his own values based on strength and power, and the slave he comes from resentment and defines itself in opposition to the master.
So then, as
Right.
for you, which one is Eli and which one is Daniel?
But that's sort of the genius of the movie, and it's only towards the end that at least I was able to put one into one pigeonhole. They're both trying to be masters, right? But Eli's religion is actually slave morality, dressed up as master morality. And that's because he's sort of a fraud that we figure out towards the end, right? And he's preaching humility and submission to God, but he's really seeking power and money and personal power, right? And what we see in the last scene, the bowling alley scene, is that he's a fraud who's trying to become a master.
Right. So, but on the other hand, Daniel at least
Yeah.
is honest about his will to power, right? Like he doesn't
Yeah.
pretend to serve some higher purpose. He
Yeah.
explicitly says, "I want no one else to succeed." So there
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
at least that brutal honesty about his monstrosity.
Yeah, he's authentic about it, and he knows that he will have to abandon and everyone and isolate himself completely in the pursuit of this power, and he's okay with that, right? He's an asshole throughout the movie. You don't see him being a nice person at any moment and in the movie, and that's the authenticity about him. And this isolates him completely, right? And we see that by the end of the film, he has achieved everything that he wanted. He's achieved total power over his domain, but he's also utterly alone in that massive mansion that he lives in. Yeah, and he's drunk and he's almost paranoid.
Yeah, he's the master of his domain, right?
Yeah,
which brings up another Nietzschean concept called the Ubermensch, right, or
yeah,
the Superman. So Daniel
yeah,
thinks he's become the Superman, someone who's
mm,
transcended ordinary morality and created his own values.
yeah,
But I think we should remind our listeners, our viewers, that Nietzsche's Superman was supposed to affirm life, right, and
yeah,
create meaning.
yeah. And on the contrary, Daniel's, if he's an Ubermensch, he's only created destruction and emptiness, right? Although we can argue that he's created value, like in terms of money and
Shareholder
wealth,
value.
but he's also brought a lot of negative things, which Eli also says that you brought a lot of vile to this community. So he's not really an Ubermensch. He's a cautionary tale about what can happen when will to power has no other dimension, when there's no check to power. So there is no love in his life. He's no creation. He just brute force, money and oil. That's it, and just domination across everything.
Yeah, I mean, the tragedy is that I think both Daniel and Eli could have been great men if their will to power had been channeled towards building
Yeah,
something meaningful rather than just going at each other and destroying each other.
yeah, yeah, yeah. True. And I think Eli tries, at least at the start. If you've not seen the ending, you feel that he's trying to do something good for the community and build like this church, although the church always feels a bit flimsy through his antics, but he's at least it shows that he's trying to do something, but we find out towards the end that it was all for himself. Anyway, let's talk about another topic, right? Daniel's misanthropy. uh, and we saw a share of that in the first video that we saw, that it's central to understanding his character, right? And misanthropy is a general hatred or distrust of humanity, and Daniel openly admits to it explicitly throughout the movie. He hates everyone.
Correct. Yeah, that speech, like I hate most people, the one we just
Yeah.
watched. I think that isn't just cynicism or pessimism. This is a deeply held philosophical position that a lot of people have about human nature, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting, right? So I remember that this movie is loosely based on this book called Oil. Don't know how much of Daniel's character is there, but we see early shoots in the movie that he wasn't always this, he didn't always have this hatred for humanity. At least when we first meet him, he's isolated, he's driven, he has that will to power, but he's still trying to engage with people, even though transactionally, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think the turning point seems to be maybe connected to his son, right? And
Mm,
because I mean, son, I'm putting that in quotes because the film
mm,
leaves
yeah.
ambiguity whether Daniel ever really loved him or if HW was always just a prop.
Or maybe, or was his son, like he keeps it open at the end that you're a bastard child, so you never know, or an orphan child, right? And so when he goes deaf, you remember that scene, that whole, that's another 10 minutes of, I remember, percussion music playing in the background and so much noise and so much oil. By God, I've never seen so much oil in my life. So when the
He's
Derrick
get
explosion
he's get
happens,
rich seeing that.
yeah, so much oil, man. And at that moment of time, I remember that Daniel is trying to take care of him, but then the explosion happens in the Derek, right? And he doesn't know what to do. Like any sane person, if his son is crying and he knows that he was so near the explosion, he would try to be closer to his son. But it just shows that for Daniel, at that point of time, the priority is something different. So he just leaves him there in the room and goes to handle the situation. And and then later we see in the scene that he sees that I abandoned my child.
But did he really abandon him, or was HW always just useful for making Daniel appear more trustworthy to the communities he was exploiting? I mean, you
Yeah,
see his pitch to the communities, to the families that I'm a family man. It just
yeah,
feels like he's using his son as a prop, right?
yeah, and that's heartbreaking and that's ambiguous at the end as well. And this is what he sees. This is what he says as well at the end, right? That I always wanted to use you for what I wanted to do because I needed a cute face by my side. And in the first half, at least, we want to believe that Daniel has some capacity for love, at least for his son. And HW meant something to him because he used to, take care of him. But towards the end, we see that the evidence and his own treatment of his son, it suggests that the misanthropy might extend even to his own son, that he might be just hating the person, HW as well.
Yeah, and I think further substantiated by this whole reveal about Daniel's brother Henry,
Yeah,
who finally turns out to be an imposter. I think the sequence is crucial for I think understanding how deep Daniel's misanthropy really is. Right, Daniel is performing the role of a respectable businessman and a family man.
yeah,
Right, he's neither. He's not respectable, nor is he a family man.
mhm,
And watch how his voice changes when he's pitching to landowners versus when he's alone or when he's angry, right?
yeah,
Like, I'm an oil man, ladies and gentlemen. Like,
yeah,
he is putting a performance and even like almost trying to break the fourth wall. telling
Yeah.
us that this is a performance that he's putting up, right?
True, true. Yeah, and it's because it's Daniel Day-Lewis, it's so difficult to figure out all of this. And Eli is more performant, right? And I think it's also behooves his role of like managing the church or being the preacher. He's performing the role of the holy vessel of God, and he's healing people from arthritis, and he speaks in tongues. He's sort of wants to perform exorcism. It's all theater, right? He's fixing people just by his voice. So he's trying to do that typical role of actor on the stage of religion. I think there's a long running discussion or debate on this movie when it came out was that it's often read as a critique of capitalism versus religion. But now if you watch the movie a couple of times, you start feeling that the reading is too simple, right?
Yeah, I think the film isn't saying religion is good and capitalism is bad, or vice versa. I think it's
Yeah.
showing how both systems can be vehicles for the same human drives: greed, power, or domination, right?
Yeah. And you rightly said neither are bad or good because in this case, both of these powerful people, they are using these tools to acquire power, right? So Eli uses religion the same way Daniel is using capitalism as a tool for accumulating more and more power and controlling people.
Correct, correct. I think so. Max Weber wrote about the Protestant work ethic and how
Mm.
capitalism and religious values became intertwined in America. But this film shows what happens when both systems are stripped of any genuine moral content.
The humiliation scene of Eli comes to mind when uh he first of all when he wants to bless the oil derrick,
Yeah,
and he completely sidelines him and ignores him. And the secondly, when he comes because I think he was promised a bonus or something, and he comes and asks for his money, and then he bit slaps him, Daniel, and he like feeds him oil in his face. And but Eli cannot do anything about anything at that point of time, right? Because at
yeah.
that point Daniel is in power and he controls everything. Now I want to talk about the most powerful scenes in the film. We already saw a couple of them, but there are more. So what is your best favorite scene in this movie then?
I think it's the opening sequence.
Hmm.
I don't think we can play 15 minutes here, but but it's those 15 minutes without dialogue, which I think they set up the movie
Sets.
brilliantly for me. Yeah, and it's just DDL in that mine shaft. The way he falls down the ladder, breaks his
Yeah.
leg, and then drags himself with that broken leg to get his silver sample registered. It tells you everything you need to know about the
Yeah.
will to power, everything you need to know about this character. But that was a pretty obvious one. But what about you? What's your favorite scene?
Yeah, so I think one of them was that we already saw, the I abandoned my boy. And the other one was the bowling alley scene, and especially the part about I drink your milkshake. It's so funny,
Uh, uh,
hilarious, but it's also horrifying, right? Why the hell? Because I remember he used to feed HW milkshake with like mixed with alcohol, and it's so weird. And then he gives this analogy of I sucked that derrick out and that land out, and then he gives this analogy of how you can do it as well. I don't know. And then at this point of time, Daniel has become like a grotesque parody of himself, right? So he used to be always he throughout the movie he's shown as powerful and composed. Of course, he's drunk throughout the movie, but in this at this point of time, he's paranoid, right? And he's alone, and he's just falling over himself. And then he forces Eli to debase himself completely. So let's watch this milkshake scene.
Where were you? Who was nursing you, poor Eli? One of Bandit's sows? That land has been had. Nothing you can do about it. It's gone. It's had.
If you would
You
just
lose.
take this lease, Daniel.
Drainage! Drainage, Eli, you boy. Drain dry. I'm so sorry. If you have a milkshake, and I have a milkshake, and I have a straw, there it is. That's a straw, you see. Watching. My straw reaches across the room and starts to drink your milkshake. I drink your milkshake. I drink it up!
Don't bully me, Daniel.
say it. I'm a false prophet. God is a superstition. That moment when Eli finally breaks and repeats it, I think that's his soul dying. That's him dropping his performance completely. Everything that he's built his identity on, his pride, everything, it's gone completely.
Yeah. And in this scene, especially watching this scene, I remember the first time that I see Eli vulnerable and pleading, and his mask is off, right? And Daniel strips off his mask, so you see the real Eli, which we've not seen throughout the movie. Mm, so it's sort of different because you always thought that Eli was always gonna go uh, till the end with Daniel, right, face to face, and he's gonna be standing up front, but he sort of loses his guard towards the end, and then Daniel beats him to death with a bowling pin, which is very, I would say, was very anticlimactic for me because I expected them to fight and expected some blood because of the title of the movie, but I didn't expect him to kill him with a bowling pin. And it's weird because there was so much going on in the movie, like sort of the industrial revolution. You see oil empires, religious battles. You see how the society was evolving in this time period of oil and church, and then it ends with this guy killing him with the bowling pin.
Yeah,
So it's
equally
weird.
absurd, no doubt, no doubt. I think we've seen how Nishi is built to power when stripped of any moral framework or human connection leads to destruction rather than creation. Both men had immense drive, immense capability, lot of energy, but unfortunately, they only used that to dominate and to destroy.
Yeah, and we also saw how misanthropy as a philosophy uh, comes to bite you back, right? So you start isolating yourself because you just hate everyone, you don't want to associate with everyone, but then at the end, you are just alone. And Daniel, whatever dreams he had towards, or whatever, will to power he had at the start of the movie, he achieved everything that he wanted materialistically, but he destroyed anything, any possible relationship that he had, even with his supposed son. I think like this movie and also some of the previous topics that we've done, they are so philosophically rich because there are no easy answers, right? So it's not letting any one side win towards the end. So it's not giving us a good answer that hey, capitalism is evil, religion is evil, or vice versa. It shows that either or any system can be corrupted when the people who are in power and who have the will to power use it solely as a tool for domination.
Correct. Both Daniel and Eli are tragic figures in the classical sense. They
Yeah.
destroy themselves through their own fundamental character flaws, their inability to value anything beyond power, and their inability to form genuine human connections is finally what puts them down, right? What
Yeah, and the,
defeats
the
them.
eternal question, right? What does it profit a man to gain the world if he loses his own soul? And they
Yeah.
they gain, or they get everything that they want in their domains, but towards the end they lose their humanity, right?
Daniel and Eli, well, they never change, right? They're
Yeah,
locked in this
yeah.
eternal battle. They're locked in these destructive patterns right until the end.
That's so strange because usually whenever you see a movie, that's the usual arc of a storyline, right? There is redemption or some sort of closure towards the end. But the movie ends and there you don't see Daniel getting chastised for killing someone, or you don't that the other guy dies. But yeah, so there is no end. It just abruptly the movie just tells us, okay, this is it. These two people were bad and they will remain bad. And it
Yeah.
does, I think that's what makes this sort of powerful, this movie. There's no redemption or hope. And it's showing us that there might be situations with powerful people who are sort of evil as well, where there's no logical conclusion to their lives.
But that being said, I think there is still a lot of takeaway for our listeners, right? They
Yeah,
say this that the will to power is a fundamental human drive, but it
yeah,
needs to be balanced really well with other values, like
yeah,
compassion, connection, creating something meaningful beyond yourself. So it's great to be ambitious, it's great to want to conquer, it's great to want to be a CEO wherever you
yeah.
are. but it has to happen with a lot of compassion, with a lot of help. But guys,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us for this particularly dark and absorbing, I would say, episode of
Yeah.
Into Philosophy. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of cinema's most philosophical films, I feel, and let us know
Yeah.
which other morally complex characters would you like us to analyze.
And all these morally complex characters, they tell us that ambition without empathy will lead to isolation, and power without any purpose will lead to emptiness. And winning at all costs, although may seem very nice, it may just make you lose everything else as well.
Wow. All right. This has been Mohit and Vishal for Real Philosophy. Until next time, maybe don't drink anyone's milkshake.
Or if you get it offered like Daniel offers it to HW with something mixed in, maybe yeah. See you next time,
Someone
everyone.
else. Cool. Ciao.